We all love a good story, right? A clumsy scientist, a flash of inspiration, and bam, a world-changing invention is born. It's this myth of the lucky break. But is that really how science works? Well, let's get into the truth behind these so-called happy accidents. Because trust me, the real story is so much more fascinating than just dumb luck. Okay, let's kick things off with a classic. Picture this. It's right after World War II. An engineer is working on radar equipment, and he has absolutely no idea he's about to completely change the way we all make popcorn forever. That's it. That's the moment. It wasn't some complex formula. It was a gooey mess in his pocket. Now, he wasn't trying to invent a new way to cook, but that melted candy bar sparked a question in his mind, a question that led directly to the microwave oven. Or how about this one? An invention that came from something we've probably all dealt with, taking the dog for a walk and coming back covered in annoying little burrs. Now, you and we'd probably just get frustrated and start picking them off. But to Mistral, his curiosity just took over. He put them under a microscope and saw this brilliant natural fastening system, tiny little hooks grabbing onto loops of fur. And then he spent years figuring out how to copy it. That's how we got Velcro. And sometimes a big breakthrough doesn't come from a little surprise. Sometimes it comes from what looks like a complete and total failure. His experiment was, for all intents and purposes, a bust. He was trying to make a new kind of gas, but instead of just throwing the whole thing out, he had to know why it went wrong. So he sawed the canister open and found this weird, impossibly slippery stuff inside. We now call it Teflon. A melted candy bar, a dog covered in seeds, a botched experiment. I mean, it all sounds like pure random chance, right? But if that was all it took, wouldn't we all be inventing world-changing products every time we spilled something or got our clothes dirty? The real answer, the secret ingredient, is this amazing word, serendipity. Now look closely at that definition. It's not just about a lucky accident. The key word here is sagacity. It's a fancy word for wisdom or insight. It's about having the ability to look at the same thing everyone else sees, but to think something nobody else has thought. So you see, serendipity isn't magic. It's more like a recipe. You absolutely need step 1, the chance encounter, the melted chocolate. But it's nothing without step 2, the prepared mind that recognizes that something important just happened. And step 3, the curious investigation to actually figure it out. Without all 3, an accident is, well, it's just an accident. And this idea really comes to life when you look at how many of our most famous inventions weren't just unexpected, they were originally seen as complete, total, embarrassing failures. I mean, check out these 2 examples. You have scientists trying to make a perfectly clear plastic for military gun sights, and they accidentally make superglue, a chemical so sticky they thought it was useless. And then you have researchers at 3M trying to invent the world's strongest glue, and instead, they create its exact opposite, something pathetically weak. That's literally what the inventor, Spencer Silver, called his creation. Can you imagine? For 5 whole years, this weak, peelable glue of his was just a running joke around the lab. He knew he'd made something, but nobody, not even him, had a clue what you could possibly use it for. And then the prepared mind shows up. His name was Art Fry, another scientist at 3M who happened to sing in his church choir. And he had a very simple, very annoying problem. The little slips of paper he used as bookmarks kept falling out of his songbook. Suddenly, he remembered hearing about Spencer's useless adhesive and, bingo, a light bulb went off. What if a weak glue was exactly what a bookmark needed? And just like that, the solution found its problem. That beautiful failure, the Post-it note, was born, and it now makes over $1 billion every single year. But if you want the ultimate story of serendipity, the gritty, tough, incredible reality of it, look no further than penicillin. We all know the legend of Alexander Fleming and the moldy petri dish, but that one lucky moment in 1928, that was just page 1 of an epic, 2-decade-long saga of grit, teamwork, and desperation. I mean, just look at this timeline. It shows how brutal the journey really was. Fleming's discovery was basically ignored for almost a decade. It took a totally new team to pick it back up, and their first time trying to treat a person with it, it failed simply because they ran out of the drug. That initial accident was completely useless without years and years of thankless, grueling work. And the final success wasn't down to one genius, but dozens of unsung heroes. The so-called penicillin girls who were tasked with growing the mold in hospital bedpans. There was a pee patrol that collected patient urine just so they could recycle the precious few molecules of the drug. And get this, the best strain of penicillin in the world was found by a lab assistant named Mary Hunt on a moldy cantaloupe she just happened to spot at a market. It truly took a village to turn one lucky break into a miracle drug. So, the story of penicillin isn't just history, right? It's a blueprint. It shows us that discovery is a messy, collaborative, and persistent process. Which brings up a huge question. If it's more than just luck, can we actually, engineer serendipity? Can we create the conditions for these happy accidents to happen more often? The answer is absolutely yes. And here's how you do it. First, you embrace open-ended research. Think about Google's famous 20% time where they let engineers work on whatever they wanted. That's how we got things like Gmail. It's engineered serendipity. Second, you force different kinds of minds to collide. Because when a chemist talks to a choir singer, you get a Post-it note. And today, we can even use AI to do this, having it scan millions of documents to find connections a human might never, ever see. And that leaves us with one final thought. The real lesson here is that the next huge breakthrough probably won't look like a breakthrough at first. It might be sitting on a shelf somewhere right now, labeled failure or useless curiosity. It could even be one of your own projects that didn't go the way you planned. So the question for all of us is, what beautiful failure is out there, just waiting for the right prepared mind to give it a purpose?